Hello, I'm Tom Morgan. I'm joined by Lyndsay Ansell for another episode of Talking Stuff. Hello, Lyndsay. You've got your
Hello.
video on, of course you have.
Yes, I have.
But we're going to talk about that today because this is something you've mentioned to me. This whole idea of having video on, and yeah, we're sort of expected to do it at the moment, aren't we? Like, so, but that's a weighty expectation for some people, I think. And it's really interesting to me to see who, like across different companies, across different sectors, across different demographics, who does video and who doesn't do video. It's kind of interesting as well. I think there's a lot of evidence. I guess a good starting point maybe is there's a lot of evidence that says having the video on is good for engagement, right? So I think that's where the messaging comes from, because there's a lot of advice, if you like, or recommendation for like having video on in all these calls that we're doing. But I think what I think you said, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, is what about like if that's not right for you, like what that, and how that jars against the advice, I guess. What if you're reading anything? Well, I have to turn my video on because this is all published advice and guidance, and my company tells me I have to, and
but I don't like it.
I don't like it for lots of valid reasons, I think, as well, right?
Yeah, I think there's loads of layers to this, isn't there? Like, I think for us working in the industry that we're in, video calls are not a new thing. Like, it's certainly been company policy that we're video first for since I can remember. But I think for lots of other people, where particularly this year, video calls have just suddenly become the norm. Like, how do you go? It's like one extreme to the other, isn't it? And I find it really interesting when people just out and out don't like video calls, because in the good old days when we used to work in offices together, aka 2019,
the before times.
The before times. You in an office, you would constantly be visible to all of your colleagues, but then make that visibility a sort of overt thing, like the camera is on you and your colleagues can see you on this video call in this frame, is somehow a whole completely different thing, and people do hate it. and I can sort of, I understand it to a point, although I have an A level in drama, so I've never been camera shy per se myself. But yeah, I just find it really interesting. Personally, I get lots more out of a video call than I do out of a not video call, because so much of communication is body language, isn't it? And although you only see like head and shoulders, you can still get a lot out of someone's face, and whether what you're saying is landing well or whether you need to quickly say something else. And I find that really useful. But then the other thing I was thinking the other day was I was having a bit of an off day, and I was due on a video call with a number of colleagues, and I didn't really fancy being on video. So then I didn't go on video because I thought, well, it's optional, isn't it? You don't have to be on video. But then I thought, what will everyone think if I don't go on video? Because I'm usually on video. So are they going to think I'm up to something or not really concentrating? Or, there was that whole kind of like,
guilt. I definitely come off video if the call's going boring. Like if you know what I mean. If the meeting's boring and I'm like, I think I can do something else. Like I can do some laundry, I can tidy the room, like I can, then definitely. But it's really hard, isn't it? Because you're right, on some fundamental level, there shouldn't really be any difference to being in person. But there massively is for people. Like it's, plus it might be recorded, but also it's much more. It's different from you being one of 5 people in a room in an office to you being in that box. Like you're always visible in the box. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
I just don't know whether we should be a bit more sort of wary that video calls aren't everyone's bag, and whether we need to start having more conversations about it. Like, I never start a call with a customer, for example, saying, "Oh, would you like to go on video or not?" Either way doesn't matter to me.
Do you video shame? I video shame people. So like, do you turn on your video overtly to be like, if I turn yours on, you're gonna, if I turn mine on, you're gonna turn yours on, aren't you? Because now you feel bad because I turned mine on. Like,
I usually start with video on, and then if nobody else has it on, I kind of go, well, I don't want to be the only one on video, so I'll turn it on. But yeah, maybe it's something we should be talking about a bit more. Maybe it's, are you comfortable going on video? Like, would you prefer not to?
Quite often I hear people make kind of excuses at the top of the call for not having video on.
Yes.
And it's like, you don't have to, like, don't have to make an excuse to me, but like, there's always like, I haven't got my video on because something.
So like, you would say, I have got my video on today because I'm looking particularly great.
I've just had my head up and I want you to see.
But you would make an excuse if you didn't have it on.
I think you're right though. You do get a lot more. I think there are the advantages are worth trying it, but without forcing people. I think I found it really interesting to get an insight into everyone's lives as well, with the backgrounds of people's lives, and it's just really interesting. Like our MD, for instance, got on a call with him. Like, it's just interesting, the backdrop of like, you sort of expect him to be in some palatial mansion, and I'm sure he is, but like, it's a funny, like, his study is like combined with his exercise bike thing and like some kids' toys and stuff everywhere, and it's like, he's a regular person. Like, who thought, right? So it's interesting. It's funny, but
I do find myself getting a little bit suspicious when people have got an applied background on, like a standard.
I try and look through the little gaps in there. But
What
you get little gaps in the headset, just try and like see what the real like background is. That's a fun thing to do on calls. Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep that one for next time.
It's hard though, because in some ways this is a digital skills gap as well. Like, people are not comfortable with it for whatever reason. There are really good reasons, but a lot of it I think might just be a mistrust, a misunderstanding. Like, so the default position is not to, and then I worry that those people are like, they're not well represented in meetings, if that makes sense. They're not bringing their best self to a meeting, and that like, for whatever reason, they're worried about how they'll look. They're worried about the background. They're all these things, but it means they're not. They're not bringing their best self to the meeting, and that has knock-on implications, right? Because it means then that the meetings get led, if you like, or the decisions get led by the people most comfortable to do video or whatever, which doesn't sound right. You know what I mean? And it's because it's quite easy for like somebody who doesn't have video on to get, and this is a similar problem for people who aren't as confident speaking up, coming off mute, dealing with the lag of audio and all these things. Like, they can drop out of meetings really easily. I'm always trying to be aware of that when that happens, and sort of like, try and bring people back in. But it's definitely harder when the videos are not on, because you sort of forget about it a little bit, I think.
Maybe it's like a confidence thing. I suppose if it's a change that you've had like thrust upon you without much say or warning, some people need to warm up to the ideas of a change, don't they? And video calling is quite a fundamental difference to how you might be used to working.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, like, I can imagine if you've never done it before, you don't necessarily know the importance of it, and that feeds all the way through into like employers not seeing the importance of expensing webcams and like all these things, right? It comes all the way through.
And
like
headsets.
Headsets, that as well, like quality headsets. Like, if you don't know the importance of that stuff, you're not. You're at an immediate disadvantage before you've even started, really. So.
Workforce is not well equipped.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a digital skills thing that hopefully it's probably a generational thing, maybe. I don't know. Like, the generation now going into work are so mobile first. They've got cameras, they've got headsets, like they're they've got the phones. The phone is a great tool for communication, it turns out. Like, but not just as a phone, but like it's the webcam and the headset and all the rest of it. And yeah, it's not certified. It could be better, but it's a good minimum bar for everybody now. I don't know. So, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
it's interesting trend. I think we were going to have this anyway, but like this year has massively accelerated it. I think hugely accelerated it. And the only thing I worry about is that when you have that massive acceleration like that, you lose more people more quickly. You know.
Yeah, who do you leave behind?
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Not
we shouldn't end on a sad note.
I was going to say not necessarily problems I think we can solve today, but it's I guess it's being aware of it, isn't it? Being aware of it in meetings, being aware of the people that are not on video, trying to keep them included as much as possible. And then petitioning your employer for a webcam if you don't have one.
Yes, and a headset, a good headset. But joking aside, headsets, sometimes I don't hear so well. And if someone's got horrific audio because they're shouting into their PC, it's bad times. Echo.
Yeah. And it's you're not aware of your own poor microphone quality as well.
No.
Like, if that makes sense. Not you. I mean, like if you've got a terrible headset, but actually it sounds okay to you, but the microphone is awful and picks up crazy background sounds everywhere. You're not aware of how much you are ruining the meeting. Yes. No, it's been useful. It's been good. Things to pick up, I think, on meetings, and not feel bad about not having video on sometimes. But not all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. It's been good.